Jared sat on the edge of his porch as the sun sank behind the distant hills. Every evening since Clara left for Arcadia City, he felt a quiet ache in his chest. Their laughter, once as natural as breathing, echoed only in his mind now, remembered. The mornings they shared coffee on this very porch, talking about dreams and failures. Now the chair beside him stayed empty. The world looked the same, but without Clara, it felt muted, as if someone had turned down the color of everything he loved. He found himself replaying their last conversation. Clara had smiled, promised they would keep in touch, and then the train had carried her away. At first he sent messages full of inside jokes and plans for weekend hikes. When morning passed without a reply, his hope dimmed. He told himself she was busy settling into her new job, making new friends. Still, his phone lay silent, and his heart sank each time he checked it. Jared tried to fill his days with work. He pushed himself harder, staying late at the lab too. Design new solar cells. Sometimes he stayed so long that he could watch the stars through the skylight. He thought of Clara studying city planning, building parks and high towers. Their passions felt like two halves of a whole. But even the thrill of a breakthrough in the lab could not chase away the loneliness. He stored the last photo they took together on his desk and stared at it when the nights grew too quiet. On one rainy afternoon, he found an old paper notebook they used for notes and drawings. Inside, Clara had written, "We will always find our way back to each other." Her handwriting curled around the page like a gentle wave. He read it over and over, feeling the warmth of her promise. His chest tightened with longing, but also with a spark of hope. Maybe this distance was not the end, but the start of a new chapter in their story. That evening, he drafted a message to her. He typed, "I miss you more than I can say. I believe in us." Then he paused. What if she did not feel the same? What if she had moved on?
Fear and doubt swirled in his mind.
He deleted the words and stared at the blank screen. His finger hovered over the send button, but his courage faltered. Inside his mind, a small voice whispered that humans were made to reach out, to bridge gaps, to overcome fear. He remembered a speech he once heard about humanity's greatest strength, the will to connect, to care, even when the odds seemed against us. That impulsive spark inside him urged him to try again. He opened a new message and wrote, "Clara, I know things have changed, but your friendship means the world. To me, can we talk? I want to hear your voice." He glanced at the clock. It was past midnight, but he pressed send. The message sailed across miles of cables and satellites, a tiny beacon of his hope. He closed his eyes and pictured Clara reading it, feeling the same anxious excitement he felt now. He pictured her smile when she replied. The next morning, he woke at dawn, wrapped in a fleece blanket on the porch swing. Rain had stopped, and dew sparkled on the grass. His phone buzzed in his pocket. His heart thundered as he unfolded himself and reached for it. There it was. "Jared, I've missed you too. I'd love to talk." Relief and joy rushed through him like sunlight after a storm. He tapped the reply button with trembling fingers. "Can we video chat tonight?" He imagined seeing her face, hearing her laugh, sharing a new memory even across the distance. In that moment, Jared felt the truth of human spirit. No matter how far apart two hearts may be, hope and courage can pull them back together. And, as he watched the sunrise, he believed more than ever that this story of friendship, care, was far from over. Michael walked through the quiet streets of his hometown just after sunset. The streetlights glowed softly on the wet pavement, and the night air felt cool against his skin. Every corner reminded him of Sarah. They had grown up here together, sharing secrets beneath old oak trees and racing down these very sidewalks on their bikes. But 3 months ago, Sarah had moved away to study at a distant university, and Michael felt as if half of himself had vanished. He pressed his hands into his pockets and stared at the window of the small cafe where they once spent long afternoons. The chairs were stacked, and the sign read closed. But he remembered the warm light inside, and the way Sarah's eyes sparkled when she talked about her dreams. He sighed and continued on, wishing he could call her in that moment. He wanted to say, "I miss you," and tell me how you are." But every time he picked up his phone, his courage melted away. At home, Michael sat on his bed and looked at the photo on his desk. It showed him and Sarah arms around each other, grinning at the camera after they had finished a summer project at the town library. He studied her smile, feeling both comfort and pain. Their friendship had been a constant in his life, a proof that people could trust and care deeply. Now that proof felt distant, as though it belonged to someone else's story. He tried to write Sarah letters. He folded crisp sheets of paper and poured out his thoughts, how he missed their talks, how strange it felt to walk past her old room with its empty shelves. He wrote about his new hobby of building model rockets, hoping she would be proud. But when he saw the stack grow on his desk, unsent, he hesitated. What if she thought he was clingy? What if she had made new friends and forgotten him? Doubt whispered that he was imposing, that distance changed people. Still, Michael refused to give up. He remembered a speech he had heard in school about humanity's strength, our ability to reach out, even when we feel weak, and to light candles in darkness. That idea, that daring hope, felt alive inside him. He wanted to show Sarah that friendship could cross any distance, that human spirit could conquer uncertainty. The next morning, he made a plan. Instead of a long letter, he would send a simple text. 3 words that carried everything: "You matter, Sarah." He tapped out the message, then paused. It felt too small. He deleted it. After a moment, he typed again. "I miss you. Let's talk." He stared at the screen, heart pounding. Then he pressed send. Immediately, he felt lighter, as though a weight had lifted off his chest. The rest of the day passed in a blur. Michael worked on his rocket models, painted tiny fins, glued parts with trembling hands. He checked his phone at least a dozen times, hoping for a reply. When evening came and his phone remained silent, his heart sank again, but he refused to surrender to sadness. He reminded himself that patience was part of hope, that even the smallest spark could grow into a flame. On the 3rd day, as he studied for his history class, his phone buzzed. He froze, then lunged for it. The message read, "Hi, Michael. I've missed you too. I'd love to catch up." Relief and joy flooded him. He grinned as if the sun had burst through clouds. He tapped back, "Can we video chat tonight?" and waited. That evening, they met face to face on the screen. Sarah's room was bright, with posters of her new city and stacks of textbooks. She smiled when she saw him. "It's so good to see you," she said, voice warm. Michael's own smile felt wide enough to fill the screen. "I've missed you." He replied. They talked about everything: her classes, the new friends she had made, the cold that crept into her apartment. Michael showed her the rockets he was building. Sarah's eyes lit up. "They look amazing," she said. "You've always had that spark, building things from nothing." As they talked, Michael felt the distance melt away. Their laughter echoed. Through speakers, he heard the same curiosity, the same kindness in her voice that had always drawn him to her friendship. They promised to make their calls regular, to share updates and dreams. It felt like a new beginning. After the call ended, Michael sat back and let out a contented sigh. He looked at the model rocket on his desk and felt a surge of pride. He had reached out, despite his fears. He had proven that hope and courage could bridge any gulf. In that moment, he understood that every human heart carried the power to connect, to heal distance with words and warmth. That night, as Michael lay in bed, he thought about the journey ahead. Friendships didn't end when people moved away. They changed shape, like constellations shifting in the sky, but still made of the same bright stars. Believed his eyes and smiled, believing that wherever Sarah was, their bond would hold strong. And with that hope lighting his mind, he drifted to sleep, ready for whatever tomorrow would bring. Tara stood at the edge of the old playground, where the swings swayed in a soft evening breeze. She ran her fingers along the cool metal chain of one swing, remembering how she and Leo used to soar so high that their laughter rang against the sky. Now, the seat hung empty and silent. Leo had moved across the country 6 months ago to chase his dream of working in a marine research center. Tara felt the world here grow smaller without him. Each morning, She walked past Leo's favorite coffee shop on her way to work. The sign still read its familiar name, and she could almost smell the sweet hint of caramel in the air. She paused at the door, fingers brushing the glass. She thought of the mornings they shared 2 cups of coffee, notebooks open, planning new adventures. She lifted her phone, thumb hovering over his name. She wanted to ask how he was, but every time she tried, her chest tightened and she put it back in her pocket. At her office, the hours passed slowly. Tara worked as a graphic designer, creating bright posters for charity events. She loved helping others and believed in goodness in people. But lately, her designs felt flat, like colors drained of meaning. When the clock struck 5, she packed her bag and hurried home, longing for a message from Leo that never came. One Saturday morning, she found an old journal they had kept together. Inside were sketches of sea creatures and notes on tidal patterns, ideas they hoped to explore on a joint trip. Beside the drawings, Leo had written, "Wherever we go, we carry our friendship like a compass." Reading his words, Tara felt a spark of determination. If their bond was a compass, she could use it to find her way back to him. That evening, she made a plan. Instead of a text, she would write him an email with pictures. She gathered photos of her recent artwork and a new design inspired by the ocean. She added a photo of the playground swings at sunset, its empty seat glowing with gold light. And she opened a new draft and wrote, "Leo, I miss our dreams together. I want to share my world with you, even from afar." She paused, thinking of how to end it. Finally, she added, "Let's reconnect. Let me know a time we can chat or draw together online." She clicked send. Immediately, a wave of relief washed over her. She felt brave for reaching out. The next day, she forced herself to focus on work. She sketched new poster ideas and even smiled at the vibrant colors she chose. Every time her phone buzzed, her heart leaped, but usually it was a notification. From social media, not from Leo. On the 3rd day, her phone chimed during lunch. She froze before picking it up. It was an email reply from Leo. Her hands trembled as she opened it. He wrote that he loved her designs and that he had missed her. 2. He apologized for being so busy setting up at the research center. He said he would make time for her. He suggested they have a video call that evening. Tara's chest tightened, but it was no longer fear, it was joy. At 6 o'clock, she sat at her drawing table, surrounded by colored pencils and sketches. Her laptop screen lit up with Leo's face. He was smiling, holding a seashell he had brought back from a dive. "Hey, Tara," he said, his voice warm. "I've been thinking about you every day." They talked for hours. Leo showed her the tanks filled with glowing jellyfish, and Tara shared her new ocean-inspired poster. They laughed at old jokes and made new plans. A virtual design collaboration, and someday a real trip to the coast. Tara felt the distance between them shrink, as if miles of land and sea could not stop 2 hearts determined to stay close. After the call, as night settled in, Tara looked out the window at the quiet street. She thought of humanity's greatest gift, the will to connect, to bridge all gaps with words and care. She felt proud she had reached out when she was afraid. She had shown the courage to believe in their friendship. In the following weeks, Tara and Leo kept their promise. They met online every few days, sharing stories and sketches. Tara even surprised him with a digital gallery of her ocean art. Leo responded by sending her samples of coral. He had collected ethically, of course, and photos of the research team at work. Their bond grew stronger, woven from shared dreams and simple acts of reaching out. One morning, Tara received a letter in the mail. Inside was a hand-drawn map by Leo, marking a route from her town to his new home. Beneath it, a note read, "Next adventure, together." Tara held the map too. Her heart smiled. She knew that no matter what lay ahead, human hope and determination would guide them. And as she pinned the map above her desk, she felt that with courage and care, any distance could become a path back to someone you love. Gemma stood in the kitchen doorway, watching the steam rise from the kettle. Every morning since Diego moved to Novaport, she made tea the same way they used 2 spoons of sugar, a splash of milk, and a pinch of cinnamon. The smell should have brought her comfort, but instead it made her chest tighten. Their shared breakfasts on rainy days felt far away now, like a dream she could not reach. She poured the tea into 2 mugs out of habit, one for her, one empty. She held them both, imagining Diego sitting across the counter, telling one of his silly jokes. She let her fingers brush the empty mug, telling herself his laughter would come back someday. But when she set it down, the silence wrapped around her like a heavy coat. At the office, Emma sat behind her computer, designing banners for a charity walk. Her mind kept wandering to memories of Diego. He had always been the first to volunteer, the first to sign up for human rights campaigns. His energy had pushed her to do more, to believe in people's goodness. Now she felt that spark dim without him by her side. She typed a few lines of code, stopped, then deleted them. Her work felt empty. After work, she walked through the park where they once ran together. The path curved around a small pond where ducks drifted on the water. She remembered Diego scooping breadcrumbs from his pocket, feeding the birds as he told stories of his childhood in Novaport. She held her phone in her hand, thumb hovering over his name. She wanted to ask how he was, but fear stopped her. What if he had changed? What if their friendship was not the same? That night, Emma found a small notebook, hidden in her drawer. Inside were pages of their shared plans: a world tour, learning new languages, volunteering in remote villages. Diego's handwriting danced across the lines. "We will do this together, no matter where life takes us." Her eyes filled with tears, but also with determination. If he still believed in those plans, she would too. She opened her laptop and started typing an email. She wrote about the charity banner she designed and how they reminded her of Diego's passion for justice. She attached photos of the park at sunset and a drawing of the ducks on the pond. Then she wrote, "Diego, I miss you every day. Let's talk soon and keep our plans alive." She paused, then added, "Your friendship means the world to me." Her heart pounded as she clicked send. With that small act, she felt a lift in her spirit, as if she had thrown a lifeline across the ocean. The next morning, she arrived at work early. Instead of coffee, she drank water, waiting for her phone to buzz. She focused on her banner layouts, using bright colors and bold lines, humanity shining through hardship. She reminded herself that humans could conquer fear with action, that hope was a choice they made each day. By mid-morning, her phone lit up. Diego had replied with a simple, "Thank you. I needed this. Let's talk tonight." Her heart soared. That evening, she sat at her kitchen table with her tea and nursery of succulents on the windowsill. At 8 o'clock, her video call connected. Diego's face appeared, framed by ocean waves behind him. He looked tired but smiling. "Emma," he said softly, "so good to see you." Emma felt a tear slip down her cheek. "I've missed you," she whispered. They talked for hours about his work at the environmental lab, her new charity campaign, and the ducks at the park. With each word, the distance between them melted. Before they closed the call, Diego said, "Let's plan a small project together. We can raise funds online and volunteer when I visit home next year." Emma nodded, her eyes shining. "Yes," she said, "we'll make it happen." She hung up, feeling stronger than she had in months. She knew that human spirit was more than a speech. It was the courage to reach out, to believe in each other across any sea. Emma looked out the window at the night sky. Stars dotted the darkness, reminding her of the safe paths they traced. No matter how far apart, she and Diego would find their way back to each other. With hope guiding her, she carried on, ready to build new memories and keep their friendship alive. Alex stood by his window at dawn, watching the soft light spill over the empty street. Every morning since Sam moved to Redwood City, he felt a hollow ache inside. They had shared this view long ago, dreaming up plans for weekend hikes and late-night talks. Now, the road below looked the same, but Alex felt a world away from the friend he loved. At his small design studio, Alex tried to focus on work. He sketched logos and adjusted colors, but his mind kept drifting back to Sam. Each time a notification popped on his phone, his heart raced, hoping it was a message from Sam. But the silence grew heavier with each afternoon. told himself. Sam was busy settling into a new life. Still, the emptiness followed him like a shadow. During lunch, Alex walked to the town square and sat by the old fountain where he and Sam once met. He traced the worn stones with his fingers, recalling the sound of Sam's laughter echoing against the water. He pulled out his phone and opened their chat, but Alex stood by his window at dawn, watching the soft light spill over the empty street. Every morning since Sam moved to Redwood City, he felt a hollow ache inside. They had shared this view long ago, dreaming up plans for weekend hikes and late-night talks. Now, the road below looked the same. But Alex felt a world away from the friend he loved. At his small design studio, Alex tried to focus on work. He sketched logos and adjusted colors, but his mind kept drifting back to Sam. Each time a notification popped on his phone, his heart raced, hoping it was a message from Sam. But the silence grew heavier with each afternoon. He told himself Sam was busy settling into a new life. Still, the emptiness followed him like a shadow. During lunch, Alex walked to the town square and sat by the old fountain where he and Sam once met. He traced the worn stones with his fingers, recalling the sound of Sam's laughter echoing against the water. He pulled out his phone and opened their chat, but the screen was blank. He closed his eyes and felt tears sting his cheeks. He wanted to ask Sam how things were, but he did not know where to begin. Later, he met his colleague Nina for coffee. She noticed his quiet mood and asked what was wrong. Alex admitted he felt lost without Sam's friendship. Nina smiled gently and said, "Maybe you can send a small gift or write a letter. Sometimes a simple reminder is enough." Her words sparked a small flame of hope in Alex's chest. He thanked her and hurried home with a plan forming. In his apartment, Alex found an old scrapbook filled with photos of him and Sam at festivals and art shows. Tucked inside was a tiny wooden token that Sam had carved an arrow pointing north. Sam had written beneath it, "Wherever you go, look north and find me in spirit." Alex held the token tight, feeling warmth spread through his heart. He knew what he needed to do. That evening, Alex sat at his desk and opened a blank email. He typed slowly, pouring out his feelings. How he missed their shared jokes. How days felt quieter without Sam, and how he wished to hear Sam's voice again. He attached a photograph of the scrapbook token and a snapshot of the empty fountain at sunset. Then he wrote 3 simple words at the end. "I'm here, friend." With a deep breath, he clicked send. The next morning, Alex arrived at the studio. Before sunrise, eager to see if his message had reached Sam, he worked on a new poster design, inspired by the arrow token, using bold lines and bright colors. He told himself that human spirit was powerful, capable of bridging any distance with one brave act. He glanced at his phone every few minutes, but nothing appeared. Doubt crept in, but he pushed it aside. Hope demanded patience. By the 3rd day, Alex had filled his sketchbook with ideas for a joint project, a digital map where friends could pin their current home and leave messages for each other. He believed it could help people feel closer, no matter how far apart they were. He coded the first lines, thinking of Sam's smile whenever Alex shared new designs. He felt pride in creating something that could connect hearts across oceans. Late that afternoon, while Alex adjusted the map's color scheme, his phone chimed. His heart leaped as he saw Sam's name on the screen. Hands trembling, he opened the email. Sam wrote that the message arrived right when they felt lonely too. Sam missed Alex's creativity and kindness more than words could say. They asked if they could start sketching the map project together. Alex grinned, tears of joy springing to his eyes. That evening, Alex and Sam connected on a video call. Sam's background showed the red cliffs of their new home, bathed in golden light. Alex held up the wooden arrow token to his camera. Sam's eyes lit up, and they laughed together, the sound closing the miles between them. They talked late into the night, sharing stories of new routines and old memories. With each word, Alex felt the distance shrink. After the call ended, Alex placed his laptop on the shelf and sat back. He looked at the framed photograph of him and Sam on their last visit to the lake. A wave of gratitude washed over him. He'd taken a step into the unknown, reaching out despite his fears. he had shown that human hope could light the darkest. Gapstot in the quiet of his apartment. Alex added a final touch to the map project's prototype, a glowing arrow icon that followed the user's cursor, pointing north toward connection. He believed that every person carried the power to reconnect, to spark hope with a single message or gesture. As he closed his sketchbook, he felt stronger, filled with the belief that no distance could break a bond forged by courage and care. And under the soft glow of his desk lamp, Alex knew that this was only the beginning of new adventures. Together, Ethan woke before sunrise and walked to the hill behind his house. The air was crisp, and mist curled over the fields below. He carried his old telescope, the same one he and Mia had used to watch the stars from this spot. Since Mia moved to Riverbend City 2 months ago, this hill felt hollow. He set up the telescope and peered through the lens at Orion's belt, remembering how they once traced constellations together. A hollow ache pressed in his chest, but he held on to a spark of determination. He would find a way to reach her heart again. After breakfast, Ethan went to his workshop. He built small wooden models of planets, painting them in bright colors. He hoped to send them to Mia as a reminder of their shared love for space. Each brushstroke reminded him that human creativity could bridge any gap. When the last planet was dry, he arranged them in a cardboard box with a handwritten note. "Distance cannot dim our light. Let's reconnect." He stared at the note and felt courage grow inside him. Tomorrow he would mail it. That afternoon, Ethan walked through the town square. Vendors set up stalls selling paintings and baked pies. He paused at a street artist sketching faces. He thought of Mia's art, how she captured emotions in every line. He stepped forward and asked the artist to draw a quick portrait of him holding his model planets. The artist agreed and worked swiftly. When the sketch was done, Ethan thanked her and slipped the portrait into his satchel. He felt proud that he had taken action instead of hiding his feelings. Back home, Ethan sat at his desk and opened his laptop. He searched for Mia's social media and found her latest post, a photo of her standing on a balcony overlooking a river. She wore a bright yellow scarf. His heart leaped. He scrolled through and saw her smile, and he realized that despite the miles, she was still the same person he cared about. He closed the browser and decided not to text her yet. He wanted his surprise package to arrive first, so she would know he had made an effort. That evening, he wrote a longer letter. He told Mia how proud he was of her new job at the planetarium, and how much he missed their late-night talks. He described the model planets and the sketch, explaining that every piece represented a memory they shared. He ended with an invitation. "When you unpack this, let's have a video call under the stars. On yours." He signed the letter with a hopeful flourish and placed it on top of the models before sealing the box. The next morning, Ethan bought stamps and mailed the box at the local post office. As he handed it over, he thought of humanity's strength, our ability to connect with small gestures that carry big meaning. He trusted that Mia would feel his care across the distance. He walked home feeling lighter, as if he had unburdened his worry onto the postal service. Days passed slowly. Ethan focused on his work at the community center, helping children build model rockets. He taught them that human spirit could launch ideas into the sky, just as rockets soared to space. He laughed with them as glitter spilled across the tables, and he felt joy in teaching. Yet each evening he climbed the hill with his telescope, hoping to see Mia's response in the stars. On the 5th day, his phone buzzed during dinner. He wiped his hands and saw a notification. Mia had posted a story showing his model planets arranged on her desk. With the sketch pinned above, she tagged him and wrote, "Look how bright our universe is together." Ethan felt tears prickle his eyes. He tapped her name and wrote, "I'm so glad you got them. You mean the world to me." He pressed send and realized that hope had carried his care across hundreds of miles. That night, they met on a video call beneath twin star maps. Ethan held up a planet model to the camera, and Mia laughed in delight. She showed him a tiny telescope she had set up by her window.
"I spent
hours spotting constellations, sharing new dreams for trips to dark sky parks. With each shared laugh, Ethan felt the space between them shrink. Before ending the call, Ethan said, "I'm proud of us, Mia. Together we can light up the sky." Mia smiled and replied, "Human heart and hope make any distance vanish." They promised to meet under the stars someday soon. As the call ended, Ethan closed his eyes and let a warm glow fill him. He had taken steps forward, proving that human courage and creativity, our HFY spirit, could reconnect to hearts. No matter how far apart. Under the silent stars above, Ethan believed more than ever in hope. Jenna stood on her balcony at dawn, watching the sky turn pink and gold. Every morning since Mark left for his new life in Orion City, she felt a quiet ache inside. The gentle breeze reminded her of the afternoons they spent here, talking about dreams and plans. Now the air felt empty. She pressed her hand to the railing, wishing she had the courage to reach out and bridge the miles between them. At breakfast, Jenna poured herself a bowl of cereal, but hardly tasted it. Her phone lay beside her, its screen dark and silent. She thought of the funny memes she and Mark used to share, the late-night chats that lasted until sunrise. She opened her photos and found snapshots of them laughing at a street festival. She stared at his smiling face, longing to hear his voice again. But she did not know how to break the silence. That afternoon, Jenna sat at her desk at the publishing office. She edited manuscripts and arranged layouts, but her mind drifted back to Mark. Every time an email notification popped up, her heart raced, hoping it was from him. Instead, it was work reminders and newsletters. She forced herself to focus on the story she was editing, a tale of two friends who stayed close across great distances. She drew strength from that story, reminding herself that people could stay connected, no matter where they lived. On her lunch break, Jenna walked through the park where she and Mark used to meet. She found their favorite bench beneath an old oak tree. She traced the carved initials J+M in the wood. It felt like reaching back in time. She pulled out her notebook and wrote a short note. "I miss you, my friend." Then she sketched a small paper airplane and added, "Let this carry my thoughts to you." She folded the page carefully and slipped it into her jacket pocket. That evening, Jenna returned home with a plan. Instead of sending a text, she decided to record a voice message. She lit a scented candle, its soft glow filling the room with warmth. She sat at her desk and pressed record. In a clear, steady voice, she said, "Mark, I've been thinking of you. I miss our talks and your laughter. Remember our plans for a road trip? I still believe we can make them happen." She ended with a simple, "Let me know when we can talk." Then she hesitated and tapped send. The next morning felt endless. Jenna went through her routine coffee, the bus ride, work, yet her thoughts remained with Mark. Every moment she checked her phone, hoping for a response. When nothing came, her hope wavered. She told herself to stay patient, that Mark might be busy settling into his new job. She closed her eyes and repeated a phrase she once heard. Human hearts reach out across any space. Late that night, Jenna's phone buzzed as she lay in bed. Her breath caught as she saw a new message. It was from Mark. "Jenna, your voice message meant so much. I've missed you too. Can we call tomorrow?" Jenna felt warmth spread through her chest. She typed back, "Yes, I can't wait." Then she pressed send and lay back on her pillow. A soft smile on her lips, the room glowing with hope. The next evening, Jenna set up her laptop in the living room. She lit the same scented candle and adjusted the camera so it caught her favorite painting on the wall. At the scheduled time, the screen flickered and Mark's face appeared. He looked tired but happy, with twinkling lights behind him. Shh! Heart leaped. "Hi," she whispered. "It's so good to see you." Mark smiled and said, "I've missed you, Jenna." Their laughter filled the room, closing the distance in an instant. They talked for hours about Mark's new city, the strange foods he'd tried, and Jenna's latest writing projects. He told her how lonely he had felt at first, and she admitted how much she missed him here. They shared plans for future adventures, live video tours of Orion City, collaborative poetry projects. And someday, that long-awaited road trip, every word built a bridge between their two worlds. When the call ended, Jenna felt lighter than she had in months. She looked at her phone and saw the small paper airplane sketch she had sent earlier. now set as her wallpaper. It reminded her that human courage and hope could carry messages across any distance. She blew out the candle, feeling the warmth of their connection glowing inside her. Jenna knew that even though Mark was far away, their friendship would stay. Strong, guided by their shared spirit and belief in each other, Charlie sat at the edge of the pier, watching ripples spread across the dark water. Every evening since Riley moved to Summit Valley, he felt a hollow ache in his heart. They had spent countless nights here, sharing dreams under the starlight. Now the wooden boards creaked beneath him in an empty rhythm. The sky looked the same, but without Riley's laughter, it felt cold and distant. Each morning, Charlie carried his coffee to the porch and stared at his phone. He opened their chat and stared at the blank screen. He had sent a simple, "Hi, how are you?" more times than he cared to count. Each unanswered message felt heavier than the one before. He knew Riley was busy with a new job and new friends, but the silence still stung. Charlie took a deep breath and tried to remind himself that human hearts could endure distance if they held on to hope. At his job in the town library, Charlie shelved books and helped visitors find stories to escape into. He loved the quiet order of the shelves, the scent of paper and ink. But every book about friendship reminded him of his own empty side. He worked on a new idea for a community reading program, hoping to find joy in helping others connect. Even the bright faces of children listening to him read failed to chase away the loneliness he carried inside. One afternoon, Charlie found a small box tucked away on his desk. Riley had sent it before moving home, wrapped in brown paper with a sketch of their favorite tree on top. Inside lay a smooth river stone, painted with a tiny heart. Riley's note read, "Carry this with you, and know our friendship will find its way back." Charlie held the stone in his palm and felt warmth spread through his chest. He realized that he had to show the same courage Riley had shown. Could not wait for Riley to reach out first. That evening, Charlie gathered his courage and wrote a letter by hand. He chose simple words. "Riley, I miss our talks under the stars. I carry your stone with me every day. Our friendship means more to me than distance. Can we find a way to connect again?" He folded the paper and placed it in a brightly colored envelope. Then he sat by the pier and held the envelope to his heart, imagining Riley's smile when they opened it. With a steady breath, he dropped it in the mailbox. The next days passed slowly. Charlie kept busy at the library and with the reading program. He told himself that patience was part of hope, that waiting did not mean giving up. Each morning, he touched the river stone in his pocket, feeling its smooth surface and thinking of Riley's faith in him. He believed that human determination could bridge any gap, even one as wide as the miles between homes. On the 5th day, Charlie's phone buzzed just as he was closing the library doors. His heart jumped as he saw Riley's name on the screen. He opened the message with shaking fingers. Riley wrote that the letter had arrived at just the right moment and that they had missed Charlie more than words could say. They asked if they could set up a video call that evening to share stories and laughter once again. Relief and joy filled Charlie's chest like warm sunlight. That night, Charlie set up his laptop on the pier's railing, lit a small lantern, and placed the river stone beside it. When Riley's face appeared on the screen, Charlie's breath caught. Riley smiled, eyes bright, and said, "It's so good to see you." Charlie grinned back, tears of joy shining on his cheeks. They talked for hours about new routines, shared memories, and plans for a joint camping trip next summer. Each laugh, each shared moment, wove a bridge between their two worlds. After the call ended, Charlie sat in the gentle night breeze, feeling the pinpricks of cool air against his skin. He held the river stone and knew that human spirits are. HFY strength lay in the will to reach out, to believe in connection, even when all seems lost. He whispered a promise into the darkness, that no matter where life took them, he and Riley would keep finding their way back to each other, and under the same sky they once shared, Charlie felt his heart glow with hope.